In this recording we're going to look at classification of skills as part of the skill acquisition topic. And the general idea is that a coach needs to have an understanding of what a skill is before they can devise the most appropriate training for the learner. So here are a couple of definitions of skill. Essentially, it's a learned ability to bring about predetermined results. In other words, there is a defined outcome of what's required of the skill. So this skill is performed with maximum certainty and often with the minimum outlay of time or energy or both. And the second definition by Abernathy, part of the movement or group of movements which produce a desired outcome when performed in sequence, moving the body or body parts to achieve a specific predetermined goal. So we can look at skills from a number of different perspectives, or we can classify skills a number of different ways. The open and closed continuum is the first, fine motor skills or gross motor skills, and discrete, continuous or serial skills. An open skill is one which is performed with a number of different variables, or in an environment which is constantly changing. Some examples include facing a fast bowler in cricket, receiving a float serve in volleyball, defending a smash in badminton, and manoeuvring through rapids in a K1. So in each of these different examples, either the environment is constantly changing or there are a number of different variables that the learner must need to attend to before performing the skill. A closed skill, on the other hand, is one which is performed with very limited number of variables, so that the environment is very predictable. And the examples can include serving in badminton, a gymnastics routine on the balance beam, and paddling a canoe in calm waters. So when we try to classify skills as open or closed, the best way to think about it is a continuum. So many skills aren't exclusively closed or exclusively open, but they sit somewhere along the line in between being open or closed, depending on the environment and the number of variables. Another way to consider skills is to think of them as either being fine motor skills or gross motor skills. So fine motor skills use a limited number of muscles and usually smaller muscle groups as well. So examples include just manipulating the racket in badminton, throwing a dart, writing, or knitting. Whereas gross motor skills usually involves the whole body or at least the large muscle groups. And examples here is windsurfing. Now it seems that the windsurfer is just standing still and there's not a lot of movement happening, but of course in order to maintain balance, this is considered to be a gross motor skill where the large muscles and large muscle groups are engaged to keep or maintain balance on the board. A discrete skill is considered to be movements which have a distinct beginning and an end and are usually performed over a short period of time. So examples include hitting a badminton shuttle or a throw or a kick in any number of different team sports. Serial skills are a group of discrete skills joined together to create a more complicated action. Each individual movement has a distinct beginning and end. So the example given here is in a gymnastics routine. This could be, for example, a floor routine in which the routine is made up of individual skills or movements which each have a distinct beginning and an end, but they are performed one after the other to make it into a serial skill. Another way to consider skills is to determine whether the skill is internally paced or externally paced. So an internally paced skill is one in which the learner initiates the movement of the skill. An externally paced skill is one in which the learner is reliant on an external influence as to whether they begin the skill or not. So examples of these are in golf when you're putting. This is an internally paced skill in which the learner makes the decision when to begin the action, whereas an externally paced skill example would be receiving a pitch in softball. So you're the batter and you are reliant on the oncoming ball as to when you need to begin the skill. So the coach will use all of this information in order to prepare the best training program for their learners. For example, it will have an influence on how fatigue may be an influence in whether a learner develops the skill or not. It will have implications on whether the coach will need to break a skill down into subroutines in order for the learner to best learn that skill.